under power. Thunder rolls in a witching hour. Lightning from fingertips like skies. Screaming echo, sorcerer's eyes. Darkness grips every corner. Whispers call, nothing can warn her. Crazy wild magic fire. Evil grows ever higher. Fractured minds, empire slave. Begging for light in blood's grave. Bones crack under her spell sway. Veins pulse, powers dismay. Thunder crashes like her laughter. Evil erupts, heavily ever after. Void scream beneath her feet. Desperation in her heart's beat. Tempers bruised, lightning surging in. Empire lost, darkness emerging. Crazy wild magic fire. Evil grows ever higher. Fractured minds, empire slave. Begging for light in blood's grave. Crazy wild magic fire. Evil grows ever higher. Fractured minds, empire slave. Begging for light in blood's grave. Ruby Mad Hatter, the crafter of dreams, sells trinkets and potions and magical schemes. His golems they serve with a silent grace, pouring ale, setting plates, not a word out of place. And out of the ocean, a great guest arrives. It's Candid Gamer, a scientist kaiju of size. Oh, come to Ruby's Tavern where wonders unfold, where golems pour ale and the stories are bold. With magic and laughter and the monsters roar, you'll never find a place like this evermore. Honey jellyfish, in the kitchen she stays, blessing each dish with her radiant praise. Her cleric's touch makes the stew divine, with a hint of magic in every wine. Umbra the ghost.
All right. Welcome everyone to Tabletop Tuesday. All right. Howdy, y'all. All right. A few announcements before we get into the, our wonderful discussion this evening. First announcement is our sponsor, Shockbite Gaming Servers, for all your Minecraft server needs. Trust me, we use them all the time, and they are very much worth it.
Absolutely. I've been very pleased. I think this latest ATM 9 mod pack has a few memory issues, but what I have liked is that the once or twice that it has overwhelmed the server, rather than going into like horrible, abysmal performance and dragging on, requiring us to manually reboot, it was just like reboot. And it came right back up quick. And they've also added a couple of neat little mod tools in the back end. So in addition to scheduling like a regular weekly reboot, I've got like I can do shortcuts to commands like kill all items on the ground,
Nice.
which is great.
Yeah, because it's like, oh shit, someone blew up like a crater. Oh no.
Yeah.
Alright.
And yes, Happy New Year, Anjwoman.
Yep.
About 5 hours left in my time zone.
Yeah, we got a few hours left in our time zone. I will not be streaming to the new year because I have to get Anne to her job. She has to work tonight. Because she works in a hospital, and nights like tonight are basically welcome to hell. So she has to deal with that. Fun times. The other sponsor we have is W Energy Drinks. So if you want to basically get a little bit of extra energy in your day, a little more pep in your step, the W Energy is probably your best bet. And they also have like caffeinated and non-caffeinated versions. So that helps a lot. Alright, other announcements. I'll be setting up this discussion, by the way, in Discord later. Probably either tonight or tomorrow. And that is, how do I want to put this? What level of vengeance are we going to rectify ourselves on with the plant people? Because I went back and watched the video from yesterday. Remember how I said I think they had a 5K fleet?
Yeah.
That 5K fleet wasn't theirs.
Oh.
It was it was the merchant fleet.
Gotcha.
Like, my mouse went over the fleet. Did you see those pins I posted? Where did you post them? Again. Were they in your... Oh, they were in that chat. Yeah. The Final Fantasy 14 pins. Yeah. Those are fun. Yeah, we're going to actually be talking about 14 here, Angelwoman, here in a sec. That's actually the first topic of discussion tonight. Because I have some thoughts. And they're not all good. So yeah, I'll be putting that thing into the Stellaris discussion area. So, counselors, we'll all get to discuss that. So there is that. Next announcement, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and ring the notification bell because that helps the algorithm realize that it's actually worth watching. So please, help me out. It keeps the lights on here. Speaking of keeping the lights on here, if you don't want to basically buy a Minecraft server or buy energy drinks, but you want to help donate to keep the lights on here, there's a Ko-fi down below. Donate there. Every $300 I get donated total, I eat a pie, like to the face, from my daughter or my wife.
And by eat, he means get hit by.
Yeah, get hit by real quick. So, fun times there. Alright. Let us get to the game, which we have Rimworld. By the way, for those of you who are watching on Rimworld, if you've been watching my streams consistently, you have a ton of points in Rim Connect. You can use these to cause events to happen, both good and bad. Alright? You can also put yourself in here. You could also, you can spawn items, spawn animals, spawn monsters, whatever. So there's that. Alright, Ange, are you here still? Is my guy still there? Which one was yours? Oh, yours is still there? Okay, let's see. There's Ange Woman there. He's dead. AP dead. AP dead. AP dead. So AP has died 4 times. Oh, no, wait. That's the author. Yeah, that's Ange Woman died once. Killian, Workerbot, Rosa, and Papa Hollow. Yeah. And you were a melee specialist, and you jumped into next to a thing like that had mechanoids, and then the mechanoids exploded, and your corpse got atomized. I think the only thing we found was your weapon. Yeah, you went out like you lived, jumping like a proper dragoon into the fire. So, Gamera, you may not know this or not. There's a joke in Final Fantasy, especially 14. Dragoons basically tank on the floor. Because their main ability, like in previous Final Fantasies, was jump.
Right.
The problem is, jump is not exactly a fine science. And so sometimes you end up jumping into AoEs that insta-kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And Dragoons do this a lot. So,
oh dear.
Oh yeah, oh dear indeed. Alright. You guys are no longer escorting. I'm just going to put you on dormant self-charge for now. Alright. So, speaking of Final Fantasy 14, I want to talk about some 14 stuff. In particular. And that is, well, let's be brutally honest, 14 has a bit of an issue lately. Alright? Give me a second. I'm going to attach all these to the groups. That way I can move the group as a whole away from the one thing. So that way I get them all together. There we go. Alright. And what am I about to talk about? Well, I finished Dawn Trail some time ago. I did finish it some time ago. But, recently, I basically got reminded that I haven't played Dawn Trail or Final Fantasy in the better part of over a month. And I thought about it and went, why is that? Like, this is a game I really enjoy playing for the most part, or at least I did. So, what is going on that's causing me to not play it? And I thought about the last time I kind of felt this way with the game, and that was back in Stormblood. And I was like, okay, let's look at this and discuss it. All right. One, Gamera, you don't know much about 14, from my understanding.
That is correct.
All right. So, did you know that 14 is a remake of itself?
I did know that there was like an earlier version of it.
Yes, there was 1.0. 1.0 was abysmally bad. Like, so much so that the guy they put in charge of it, after 1.0 crashed, his name was Yoshi P. Yoshi P ended the world in-game and rebooted the world, essentially.
Okay.
And that's how we got a Realm Reborn.
Neat.
Yeah, he caused the moon to explode. Practically killing everybody.
Practically?
Yes.
Not everybody, just practically.
Okay, so in the story of the world, the moon explodes, and it causes a cataclysmic event known as the 7th Umbral Calamity.
Gotcha.
And this kills, like, 80% of the world's population.
Uh-huh.
They're like, dead, gone. Yeah, like, Andrew Woman's going, yes, YouTube it. It's like, it's kind of a wild thing, like, to like, look over the shit.
Yeah.
So that is Realm Reborn, and that's when I picked up the game, was towards the end of Realm Reborn, and I played a Summoner. Because the class I main didn't exist then. Alright?
Gotcha.
The game's pacing in the first expansion was not particularly stellar. Like, the storyline really didn't pick up well until, like, the last quarter of the game.
Uh-huh.
So there was a lot of just shit you had to slog through.
Gotcha.
Which was not great. It was like, okay, we could do better than this. Please, God, help us. So then the first expansion came out, and that was Heaven's Ward. So,
Okay.
the story that transitioned you from Realm Reborn to Heaven's Ward was one of the leaders of the cities got poisoned, and we thought she was dead. Your character and all of your allies get blamed for that poisoning and attempted, regicide. Because she is like a king. Or she's a sultana is her official title. So you get blamed for it. So you run and you end up going to a place called Ishgard, which is set in Heaven's Ward. We never had access to it until Heaven's Ward, essentially.
Okay.
We find out in that expansion, the city's under attack by dragons. And you, being a good, upstanding hero, go to fight the dragons. Hey, Bun, how's it going?
I mean, you gotta fight dragons.
You gotta fight dragons. Here's the problem. The dragons weren't actually the bad guys.
Oops.
Yep, because this is Final Fantasy. Religion is bad.
Ah, yes.
So Ishgard is very religious, and it turns out the religion that's running the country killed one dragon and stole his eyes, which are his source of power.
Man, that is just mean.
I'm going to have to go AFK. I'm at a friend's party, but I want to say hi. Hey, that's fine. Lurks are accepted here. And suffice to say, that dragon took it personally.
I mean, you stole his eyes.
Yeah. Well, at first you think they only stole one eye. It turns out they did steal both, and the dragon, who's very vengeful, got an eyeball from his brother. Just to stay alive.
Right.
And so Nidhogg, the big bad dragon guy, is still a bad guy. He wants to kill everybody who isn't a dragon. Like, fuck all y'all. Alright? But his brother, Hraesvalgr, is like, hey, bro, it's cool. You can kill all these humans, but the rest of the world is okay. They didn't try to kill us, okay? Chill out.
Mm-hmm.
And suffice to say, you have to end up fighting and killing Nidhogg. But also, you have to fight and kill the religious leaders of Ishgard, which is King Thodin and his... How many knights does he have, Ange? I forget. He has a bunch of knights called the Heavens Ward, hence the title of the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how many titles it is. He has a bunch of knights, though. And if you remember Final Fantasy VII, I think you played that one, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the Summon Knights of the Round?
Yes.
You're fighting them.
Neat.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's like, oh shit. Oh, big thing in 14 is all the summons you remember from Final Fantasy, they're all bad guys for the most part. Or you have to fight them in some way.
I see.
So, like, they have this ability to breathe their element or gauge their element on someone and turn them into a drone. Like a mind-controlled drone for them. So, that's a thing. Now, not all summons are evil, but a lot of them are.
Fair enough.
And Bahamut, by the way, is a very big bad summon. Like, he's the one who almost killed everybody when he got let loose. He's the one who exploded out of the moon. Oh, yeah. But anyway, Heaven's Ward was very well done. The story was very gripping. It pulled you in. It was a very well-written story. And it even had a very sad moment where one of the characters you had been traveling with throughout Heaven's Ward dies to protect you.
Okay.
Yeah, it made a lot of Final Fantasy XIV players cry. Because, like, this dude was a really cool dude. Like, everybody loved him. It was like, I remember when he died, like, I was tearing up a little bit, and then I looked up at Thodin and his knights, because one of his knights is the one who killed the guy from a distance with a spear, and I looked up at them and went, okay, all of you are going to die now. Like, it is fucking on. No. In fact, one of my friends at the time who played the game, I looked at him and I was like, I think I'm going to kill them, resurrect them, and kill them again. Because that's fucked what they did. No, that's not cool. But Heaven's Ward was very well received. And I did enjoy it too. It was a very good story. It's what got me into 14. As much as I am, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The next expansion after that was Stormblood. Alright? This one had more of the Asiatic flair. So it had Japan, essentially. So you had samurai, you had ninjas, you had some Middle East kind of flair to it. The best, it did have a good villain. It had a guy named Zeno, and it's Zeno with an X, not Zeno with a Z, Ange. I remember how he spells his name. Zeno is the son of the Garlemald Emperor. Who, the Garlemald Empire is like this big technological empire. Like, they have all the magic tech stuff.
Sure.
Because they can't use magic.
Gotcha.
So they made up for the lack of magic with technology, and then they proceed to make it everyone else's problem. Because they went on a world tour. In the same way that the Germans like to go on a world tour every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Same results. Anyway, so Stormblood's all about dealing with that shit. You're trying to free two different countries. The problem with Stormblood and why Stormblood didn't do well is going to be a similar problem to what happened with Dawntrail, which is over-focus on an NPC.
Okay.
All right. In Dawntrail's defense, the NPC they over-focused on was someone who's been traveling with you from the beginning. So it wasn't like it's a brand spanking new person.
Gotcha.
But it was still a lot of over-focus on her. And it was like, this needs some help. Like, don't do this. So there is that. Now, I didn't care for not Dawn Trail, sorry, Stormblood too much. It has some cool things to it, but for the most part, it was kind of meh out of 10 for me. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, this is not a great expansion. I didn't hit it too hard. Then the
Okay.
next one, which is the one Anne just brought up, Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers, by far and away, is the best expansion we've ever had for 14.
Okay.
One, it incorporated the class I play, which is Gunbreaker. But not just that, it made every character matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even the secondary characters mattered. And nobody got an abnormal amount of time on camera. Like, it felt relatively like an ensemble cast. Instead of, like, focusing on 2 or 3 characters, it was like 8 or 9 that you could easily get the story off. And then it had the best villain, which was Emmett Selt, which Ange really loves.
Mm-hmm.
This is an expansion where the villain, instead of constantly trying to kill you and mess with you and all that jazz, Emmett Selt travels with you for half the game. Like, half the expansion.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there going, like, trying to convince you he's right. He's still helping you, but he's going, what I'm doing is right. And by the way, when I say he's the bad guy, he's one of the Asians, which are super evil secret people who are basically trying to end every planet so that they all combine into one again and they get their homeland back.
Gotcha.
He wants all of his friends back. That's literally his whole goal. Is all the people he knew and loved and cared about, they're all dead. And this is the method he knows that will bring them back.
Uh-huh.
And he's doing it for essentially his best friend. That he, like, loves to death. And by the end of Shadowbringers, you will at least seriously question if he's right.
Okay.
Like, because he makes a very compelling argument. Like, by the end of the game, I was like, or that expansion, I was like, dude, if you were just not trying to kill every living thing in existence, I might actually help you. It's like, Jesus Christ. But, like, if you wanted to, like, just blow up an entire country and accomplish this, I might give you that. Like, damn, man. Not to mention, it doesn't hurt that he's hot. Like, dude is fucking gorgeous.
Oh no, he's hot!
He's hot! Oh no! I just got... Okay, nope. She's still asleep. Okay. You feel sorry for him because he's alone. Yeah, that's very much the case. For the fight with him, all of the Asians all have fun names and so on and so forth. His Asian name is... He is Lord Hades.
Okay.
None of them all have names like that. They're all named like... God, what are some of their names? I know it too. It's going to drive me up a wall. I know this too. FF14. ASEAN. Who are the ASEANs? Because that's the one I'm trying to remember. Fuck. Now there are some that are referred to as the Unsundered, which are 3 ASEAN overlords who are the most powerful out of all of them, and they are from the original like world. Everybody else are people who joined the ASEANs later.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so the overlords are Laha Brea, Elidibus, and Emek Selk. Alright? All 3 of them have, like, fun little names, but Laha Brea is literally just Laha Brea. Elidibus ends up becoming a mock warrior of light for you to fight. So he basically becomes a version of you from another world. And Emek Selk is Hades. And he does like a whole Merlin thing where he does a lot of magic. And it's just fucks with you. It's like, holy shit. They are crazy powerful. But yeah, Emic Selk was a great villain. He was very well received. But also, like, all the villains were pretty good. Like, none of them really didn't seem like shitty villains. Where Stormboy had a few shitty villains. And then we go from Shadowbringers to the next one, which is Endwalker. Endwalker is essentially the finishing of the main story they've started from the beginning of the game. Alright? You are finding out why the Ascians have their summon god that they want to summon, which is Zodiark. And you find out the other side, which is Hydaelyn, who is fighting him constantly. And you end up fighting them both, killing them both, kicking their ass, all that shit. And you find out what the threat was that they both were holding back. Which was essentially, I think I've talked about this with you. The End Singer girl, who her and her sisters got sent into space and went, oh shit, everything's dead.
Yep.
It's like, this is why you don't send a child into doing a job like this, because they're gonna walk away with fucking psychological damage. In Endwalker, you do get to meet Emic Selk when he was younger. Oh, fun fact about Emic Selk, he started the Garlean Empire. And his children, for the most part, run the Empire with him as an advisor. And the only way he gets to keep doing that is he keeps making clones of his body for him to inhabit when the clone he's in gets too old and dies.
I see.
Or dies from, like, unnatural causes.
Right.
So, like, you shoot him dead, he's like, oh, that's annoying. I'm just gonna go into the next body. I have, like, 500 of them in storage. Like, come on. But Endwalker, you deal with all that. You deal with the End Singer, and fighting her. And the final fight in Endwalker is you versus Xeno, who has become a summon. And he wants to have one final fight with you. And he's played off as more of like a Vegeta-style character. Like, he's your rival. He hates you. He wants to kill you. But he'll work with you because only he's allowed to kill you.
Classic.
Yeah, it's very classic. And it's classic for a reason. It's very well done. So we go through all this crazy dumb shit, okay? Then we get to Dawn Trail. Now, Dawn Trail was marketed as several things. One, there's a character named Kryl in the game, and part of the marketing was you get to find out about her family. Like, she was abandoned as a baby, and you get to find her parents and all that jazz. I was like, that's cool. And then it's also played off as your character and the other Scions get to take a summer vacation, essentially. You're getting to explore a new continent, and that new continent is the exploration of that continent is the summer vacation. Okay?
Okay.
The problem is, it neither feels like summer vacation nor exploration. And that is a problem. Because every zone you are sent to, you are told all about that zone before getting there.
Okay.
So, there goes exploration out the window. And you are brought over here due to a character named Wook Lamont. And she is attempting to become the leader of her country because her father is old and dying. And her father is a two-headed dude. Alright? One head is all about valor and fighting, and he's very brash. And the other head is supposed to be calm, reserved, and wisdom and good with magic. Alright? And he went on an adventure to essentially bring all the different peoples of this continent together into a working empire of, like, you know, peace and, you know, trade and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so you're basically going through his steps in order to do it. All right. Now, one of the things I want to address real quick, because I know some people have said that Wukomat is a Mary Sue. I looked up the definition of a Mary Sue. She is not. While she is over-idealized for the most part, she does have some things that she's not great at, but what she is great at, she gets definitely touted for. She is lacking of multiple flaws that matter. Oh, correction. The flaws she has don't affect the story. So there is that. Rose, go to bed. Rose, go to bed. Fine. But the third one is where it falls flat, and that is, she is, to my knowledge, not an author insert. And that is one of the 3 things, according to Oxford, as well as Webster, that says that you have to have in order for it to be officially a Mary Sue. But they do have a literary term that does fit her, though. And that is an over-focused character. Basically, where the story overemphasizes this one character to the detriment of other characters in the story. I'm guessing you're with me so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so what I mean by over-focused character? Well, let me give you an example, alright? Out of all of the lines said in Dawn Trail, alright? And the number of words that are said in Dawn Trail. Wukomat has 2,760 lines with a word count of 35,019 words. The next character down, this is the person who has the second most lines, second most words, is Aaronville, the bunny boy who travels with you through most of the adventure, at 952 lines and 14,135 words. He is more than half of Wukomat. That is insane. That is like, what the fuck? And everybody else is not much better. Like, Kryl, who's supposed to be the focus of the expansion, only has 742 lines. She has less than 10,000 words. She was supposed to be a focus of this expansion. Alright? The villains, the top villain that shows up. Alright?
As I was trying to tell
Hey,
you,
Jersey.
there are no bullets left in this gun.
Observation. This is a great opportunity for slaughter.
Oh no, Ange, I've beaten Endwalker. I've beaten also, Dawn Trail. I've beaten the whole game. I'm up to current. But the first villain that shows up is Sphene. And she only shows up the very, like, tail end of the game. And she has 404 lines. The one who's with, like, throughout the game, being the big 2 villains, are Bakul Jaja and Zoror Ja. Alright? They both have 164 and 140 lines. 404 lines, death not found. Yeah, it's lines, not lives. But yes. It is kind of crazy how bad it is. And then for most spoken words in the entire script, Wukomat was spoken 255 times. The main villain was 204. Like, she not only has the most lines, her name is spoken the most often. And I sent Gamera, like, the little chart that I was seeing. Like, that is more than half between those bars, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is insane. That is the textbook definition of an over-focused character. Alright? So, am I saying Wukomat is the primary reason why the expansion sucks? No, but it's a symptom of the not being good. You know I'm having a good day watching Jay. When do I get a final right And none of the contestants did. Oh, jeez. Oh, there's another spam thing. Bot. Goodbye, bot. Alright, so one thing I want to say is Dawn Trail suffers the same problem as Stormblood, which is the overfocused character, but also Realm Reborn, which is the pacing sucks ass. Like, you could agree with me. Nothing kills a story faster than shitty pacing.
Yeah, I mean, that is the biggest thing, I think, to make a story good is to keep the pacing quick enough that people don't lose interest.
Yeah. And that's the problem I had, was the pacing just is horrible. Hey, Fedorian's here. So there is that. Some people have hearkened the expansion to a visual novel instead of a video game. I can kind of see that with the number of fucking cutscenes. It's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, by the way, no, like, you know how, like, with any story you need some level of intrigue?
Yeah.
There's no intrigue in the first 4 zones of the game, of the expansion. Zero. No mystery pushing the plot forward, other than get to the Golden City, which you know someone has gotten to already.
Okay.
It's like, what the fuck? The Endless are unoriginal because, let's be brutally honest, the Endless are, by the way, the final people you deal with, which is Sphene trying to preserve her subjects by basically sucking out the souls of other things, whether it's creatures or people, preferably people, and putting them into people so they get resurrected infinitely. Just every time you die, you have to eat a soul, essentially.
Ah.
Yeah. What game? Final Fantasy XIV is what I'm discussing. I'm discussing the newest expansion and why I suddenly feel like I don't want to play it. Like, I haven't played it in a month. And I'm discussing why this is and debating whether or not I want to ever keep playing the game. It is a debate for me. But here's the thing. The whole point of the story of the Endless and Sphene and all that jazz, that's literally Emmett Selk and his people from before. Except he was using a different energy source to do it. Yeah, it sounds like Square Enix has been scraping the bottom of the barrel for story plot lines. Yeah, I've always been of the mindset that certain MMOs, once they hit the end of their story, need to just stop making expansions. A great example of this is World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Wrath of the Lich King was essentially the end of the Warcraft 3 story. And it was very much that way. And so when they released their next expansion, Cataclysm, it was, they're just making up shit. Alright. Well, no, like, Ange, I'm talking about from my experience with WoW. WoW is meh to me. Oh, yeah, no, WoW was good when I played Vanilla, when I played Burning Crusade, and Wrath of the Lich King. Those were the 3 expansions that really got me into the game. But after Wrath ended, the story just meanders. There is no overwhelming villain that I give a fuck about. Because, like, the rest of them are like, where the fuck did this person come from? And then I look it up and I'm like, oh, this was the, like, slight villain from one of the books, essentially. Or like, oh, this was a secondary character that nobody gave a shit about for, like, the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, great. Why do I care? Yes. Did you ever hear about that, Gamera? That the CDC is actually studying World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, not currently. They did with pandemic modeling.
Well, no. During COVID, they went back and started studying it again.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
not now. That was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of wild. But no, as I was saying about Dawn Trail, yeah, the pacing is bad, and they rehashed some of their story elements again, which was like, not great. Now, part of the whole thing is you're going around trying to understand the cultures of the new continent, and the way they did it was like really kind of shitty.
Okay.
Like, you have one group that they like to barter. Alright? They really like to make deals, but they like to make fair deals. They don't want to rip the other person off.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? Okay, cool. You were told from the get-go they like to barter, like within the first hour of the expansion. Maybe second hour. But then later on, we get a whole 2 hours adventure with them to explain that they still love bartering. It's like, guys, you don't need to do this. I got this from literally the first 5 minutes of interacting with these fucking people. Like, and I'm not that observant. Like, there are times where I'm dense as fuck, and I still pick this up. And they wanted to, basically, the reason for this expansion was to celebrate the diversity of things.
Yep.
Alright? But then they boiled every culture they were talking about down to 1 or 2 traits.
Okay.
And it's like, that's a problem. We got a new person, Trobo. What are you good at? You're a fighter, essentially. And you suck at everything else. Neat. So, Trobo, we're gonna make you... I'm gonna make you just clean. Clean, haul, maintenance, deliver. I guess I'll just have you do that kind of stuff, and then stone cut, smelt, refine. Yeah, your harvest sucks, but we can deal with that. I guess we'll put you on some constructing and repairing. And yeah, that's it. Okay. What's a good weapon that we have that isn't held by a colonist? That would be a legendary bolt-action rifle. Cool. Wait, are you good at... No, you're a melee person. Shit. Okay. Plasteel longsword it is. Alright, go pick that up. I've already partially covered Wukwamat, but basically... At this point, she is really cliched. She's your stereotypical anime teenage girl protagonist who is way too naive and unsuitable to be a leader, ever. And the development she makes as a character throughout the story is essentially she knows how to ask for help a little better.
Okay.
Not much better than that. And just, it's really obnoxious. And the one thing that this still pisses me off when I remember this, the final fight with Sphene in the expansion. You are fighting her. She is getting ready to kill everything in your world for soul energy, essentially, to save her people. This is supposed to be a moment where your character shines. You're the good guy. You're the main character. No, she literally, you get the enemy down to 25% of their health. Wukwamat suddenly busts through reality for some reason. Like, she breaks reality. And then ends up being there and doing something to make the fight way easier suddenly. By the way, this is a character who has no magic. She's never shown any magical talent. She just felt so strongly that reality shattered for her. Do you understand how, like, annoying that is?
My dude, I am a longtime comic book reader. One of the major DC Comics events had a evil version of Superman getting mad enough to punch reality and break time. This is certainly sounds cheesy, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 7.
Okay. Okay, how about I put it this way. This has not been a thing through the entirety of the story of the game.
Oh, I grant you that.
Alright? This is, like, really fucked. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all. No, it's not. Because it interrupts you while you're playing the fight. For a 1 minute long cutscene. Mid-fight.
Uh-huh.
Why? Like, just let me fight the thing. I'm good. One of the villains basically has a complete 180 in personality. At one point, all because Wookwamat whooped his ass solo.
Okay.
That's literally for the personality change.
Okay.
And then this person says it this way. I'm gonna make a slight change to it. It says the story deals with the themes of death like we're little kids. I feel like it's not so much that we're little kids. It deals with death in a very simplistic and very stupid way. When we've already dealt with death earlier in the game.
Gotcha.
So it's not like, oh, hey, this is a whole new, topic and we want to be sensitive about it for players. No, it's like earlier expansions like, bitch, a whole bunch of people just died. And, you're sort of responsible for that because you didn't make quite the right choice. And it kind of slaps you in the face with that earlier in the game. In an earlier expansion. And then this one, it's like, oh, these people are dealing with death and they don't want to deal with the grief. And I'm like, motherfucker, grief has been like my best friend here through most of the adventure. Like, what the fuck is this? So it's just like, it's so weird. All the secondary characters except for Wookwamat are useless. They get no character development, including Kryl, who was supposed to have character development. The expansion has several moments where they're trying to get like you to cry over a character, and they like use cheap tear jerking music. They try to, make characters react in a way that's supposed to entice you to be sad for this character. But in reality, It's like you look at it and go, I literally met this person 5 minutes before. Why do I give a shit? Like, I understand, dying sucks. This is sad. But I'm not going to tear up for someone I met literally 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, this is dumb. Don't do this. Oh, you also have no agency in the story. In a video game.
Yeah, that is always frustrating.
Yep. Like, you can actually criticize Wookwamat and say she's doing a shitty job and be like, yeah, the other person, like, there's another character called, what was his name? I know it too. Kona. You can look at him who's mostly labeled as mostly a good guy and you're like, I agree with him more than I agree with the person I'm traveling with. What the fuck, game? And then the game's like, but you're stuck with her. You have to help her. And I'm like, why? It just doesn't work. But yeah, most of the secondary characters, they're relegated to cheerleader status. Even characters who are experts in things that you are dealing with. Like, one of the characters, her name is Y'shtola. She's like a Catwoman. All right? She is an expert in not just interdimensional travel, but also how magical energy works, how it behaves and interacts with each other. Like, this is her exact field of study, and the bitch has like 4 PhDs in it. Like whenever there's that kind of question earlier in the game, she is the person to ask because she usually knows the answer. This is the first expansion where she didn't know the answer, and Wookwamat did.
Okay.
And I'm like, How? Explain this shit to me, game. Like, fuck. But yeah, it's dumb, it's weird, I don't get it. And Metacritic did kind of hit it a little hard, but not as bad as other expansions. Dawn Trail got a 78 in Metacritic, which is worse than all the other expansions. Do not get me wrong. But it is still, I will say this, I rather play Dawn Trail than Final Fantasy XIV 1.0. So we've had it worse. Yeah, and fun fact, the original 1.0 of Final Fantasy XIV sets at 49 on Metacritic. That should tell you how bad it is. It is terrible. All right. But to give you an idea, Endwalker has a 92 in Metacritic. Shadowbringers is a 90. So you can tell those are good expansions.
Yep.
Stormblood was an 87. I would disagree, but that's just my take. Realm Reborn and Heaven's Word both have an 86. So they're relatively close. So essentially, Dawn Trail has a, 8-point drop from the worst expansion on Metacritic, according to them. So, there is that.
I wonder what they'll do for the next expansion, if they'll try to course correct in some way.
Well, they're still doing patches to release more story in Dawn Trail. So there is that. Yoshi P has heard the criticism. He is supposedly looking into it, working on it, things of that nature. So I have hope. But looking over all these critiques of Dawn Trail that I've seen and what I've experienced, I can kind of see why I haven't played it in a month.
Sure.
It's just, it hasn't grabbed me like Shadowbringers did. Shadowbringers, I was constantly playing 14. It was like the game I was always playing. Endwalker, I was still playing it fairly often. So there's that. I would say another problem I've had with Dawn Trail in comparison to how do I want to put this? Then to other expansions is other expansions I at least still had someone to play with. Like when I originally started 14, I was playing with Amanda and her husband Ryan. Not long after I started 14, though, they just dropped me. And they went back to play WoW. Because they're like, oh, we like how healers are being treated in WoW better than 14. And I'm like, God forbid you actually have to do some DPS. Oh, no. Like, fucking Christ. That's just lazy as shit. Like, if you're playing a healer, you're like, oh, I'm just playing a healer. All I do is heal. I'm like, then you're lazy. You don't want to actually do it. Or, you know, that's also kind of shitty, you know, balance design.
Yep.
You should let the healers do something other than constantly healing people. That's just me.
Absolutely.
So, for Heaven's Ward, I was a little bit by myself for a while. I was thinking about dropping it because I just didn't have people to play with. And that's when I met Cell, her husband Cody, and the guild I was a part of for a while.
Right.
And so I traveled with them for a while, and they got me to get through Heaven's Ward. I was enjoying it, and then Shadowbringers came out, and Stormblood, then Shadowbringers. But when Shadowbringers came out, I got into raiding. I was having a blast. I loved Gunbreaker, all that jazz. But when Endwalker came out, that's when I had a falling out with Cell and her friends.
Right.
Due to various reasons. And at that point, I joined another guild. And don't get me wrong, the guild's fine and all, but I just haven't connected with them. So, I'm kind of like, well, not really much I can do there. And I don't really raid or anything else, so I'm feeling like I'm slowly getting out of the game. And I'm just not enjoying it. I find myself playing games more like Pathfinder Kingmaker, Stellaris in my free time, Monster Hunter World, Rimworld. What else have I been playing? Minecraft. Stuff like that. I've recently picked up one MMO, and I haven't particularly enjoyed it, so this is why I'm thinking maybe I'm just not enjoying MMOs anymore.
Could be.
Could be I've fallen out of, favor with that style of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. I know it's in alpha state, so, I'm not criticizing that it's a shitty game. They still got a lot to develop. There's a lot of work to go there. But from what I've seen, they have promise. It looks like it does have promise, but it's just, I don't know, it's not doing it for me, man.
That you sometimes just change your tastes over time.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very real possibility. And so I am right now debating, I'll wait until the ad break ends. Alright, so the ad breaks end. So, Ange, you might be sad to hear this, but I'm debating right now whether or not I even want to keep playing Final Fantasy XIV. It is something I am debating. So, I hate saying it, but it is what it is. I just make new characters for the fun of it. Like for me, I do that with some games, but 14 is not one of those games where I could do that. Because I don't see the point in it. If you want to replay the story, the game has the ability to let you replay the story. But I don't see that as something I want to do. Especially with how much work goes into getting a character through the story. So there's that. And then on top of it, it's not like you have to make a new character to get access to a class. You can play every class on one character. Where, Gamera, we have our friend Matt.
Yep.
And with WoW, he only plays the one character.
Yep.
And he sinks a shit ton of hours into it, but it is still one character. I never did that in WoW because there were too many classes I wanted to do. I ended up focusing on 3 classes, a tank, a healer, and a DPS, but I still had 3 characters at least for those 3 roles, where on 14 I have tank, healer, and DPS all on one character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of switching classes, so it's not like so there is that. And a lot of the side content in 14, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, it's nice that it exists. Like decorating houses, I've seen some gorgeously decorated houses that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Or I've seen some people with the outfits they're wearing, it looks gorgeous, it looks beautiful, I wish I could do that. I just don't give a shit enough.
Yeah.
It's just in order to find this one weapon that you want to it's called glamoring. You technically use the stats of one weapon, but you make it look like another.
Gotcha.
And you could do that with your clothing too. And Angel Woman's right. It's 5 million gil to get a house. Alright? My character's running around with maybe 2 to 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm not money farming a lot, I'm not exactly spending a crap ton of gil either.
Right.
I'm kind of just meandering through the game and just collecting what gil I can. So having a house and maintaining a house is a very expensive thing to do in the game. And I have no desire to do that. Same thing with the outfits, because like they go, oh yeah, this one sword you really want that looks really cool. You have to fight this boss that it has a 0.1% chance of dropping. So enjoy that grind. It's like, yeah, no, I'll pass. I'm good. I don't need it. It's if I ever got it, it's cool. It looks nice, but fuck if I need it. So, I mean, there is that. I mean, you play Diablo. You know what it's like to grind for shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Angela goes, I want the mounts, but I don't know. Yeah, some of the mounts are a bitch to get. Yeah, it's just like... It's just kind of ridiculous. It's just like, why? Why is this a thing? Raiding is difficult to get into. You can do some, like, lower-end raids fairly easily. But, like, to get into the higher-level ones, which are called Savage and Ultimates, you really need to get, like, a good group to do it. And I do not spend enough time in the game to do that.
Sure, yeah. A lot of MMOs, I think, have that problem where it's like you really have to spend a lot of time in the game. You really have to have a guild because a lot of the content is aimed at, groups.
Yeah, and, like, I am in a guild, and it does have a static group, but it's just... I don't do enough to get into that group.
Right.
One of my characters, I was on Gold Saucer grinding 1 million... Yeah, guild for a mount. Yeah, Ange is grinding what is called GMP, which is gold saucer points or something. It's the gold saucer currency. It's separate. And grinding 1 million is just kind of insane. It's just like, nah, I'm kind of good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm out.
I will say I enjoy playing Triple Triad on there, but, like, I can't stand playing against other people. Because it has the Magic the Gathering problem. Where every match ends in, like, very quickly against you. Unless you've grinded a bunch of cards.
Okay, yeah.
And it's kind of shitty. It's just like, well, hell. Yeah, it's just, oh man. Oof. So there is that. There's stuff being debated here. I'll probably make a decision. I don't know how much longer I have. Let me look. Let's see, Lodestone, because I know there's the website, which is the Lodestone. Or is it? I think it's the Lodestone, or... Oh, I'm not a robot. And it requires my one-time password. Let me do that real quick, because I want to see how much longer I have until my thing runs out, my subscription. Related sites. Oh, Mog Station. That's what I was looking for, was the Mog Station. Sorry, not the Lodestone. My bad. Whoopsie. Alright, let's see what I got. Because it should tell me how much left. Sub time I have left. Is it... Let's see. Subscription renewal. Let's see. Oh, no, that's up there. That doesn't tell me. Oh, here we go. Payment history. I could look that up. That'll tell me. 1, 2. I'm looking to see when the last time I paid. Okay, so July. And that's 6 months, so...
So sometime in January, then.
yeah, it should be, yeah, sometime in January. So I have a little less than a month. And then, so I have till then to figure out if I want to continue my sub or not, because it's $80 for 6 months.
I mean, you can always pick it back up later if you decide to discontinue it.
That's true.
It's not like it's an irreversible decision.
Yeah, I know. It's just more of like, am I going to try to pick this up anytime in the near future? And
Right.
for the most part, my answer right now, the way I feel, is no.
And based on what you said, that seems understandable.
Yeah. And it's not like I get a lot of time to play anyway that isn't stream related.
Right.
So that also does not help matters. Like, if I was a Final Fantasy XIV streamer, I would probably leave it be and just keep playing.
Sure.
But it's just, I'm not.
Skulls for the Skull Throne!
Hey,
Life for the
Inquisition.
Blood God!
Welcome, welcome. Alright. Well, yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts in the process. I know that, you know, it may not have been completely entertaining to hear me wax poetic about a game that I'm considering dropping. But it is what it is. It's what I felt like I wanted to discuss and see what see what chat says, see what you say, all that shit.
I'm sure that most people can relate to the idea of a game that they used to love that they have sort of fallen out of love with. It's happened for me in several games. And then sometimes I'll burn out on a game and then I'll be like, you know what I really want to do is I want to go back and play this game. You know, it's just the cycle of gaming life.
Oh, yeah. Alright. Oh, that's not it. There's display capture.
Right now, I'm back on my Minecraft bullshit and enjoying it.
Yeah. Alright.
So I am desperately trawling for diamonds.
Alright, Stronghold. Have you ever heard of a game called Stronghold?
The name vaguely rings a bell. I can't say that I've played it.
Ange goes, Baldur's Gate 3 had me go, meh, I don't like.
Really?
I'm actually the same way.
I have not yet played it. I own it. I went ahead and bought it, but I was like, I don't know if my current computer would handle it, but now that I've got a new computer, I plan to give it a shot at some point.
The problem I had with Baldur's Gate 3, and this is not saying the game is bad. Hi, Wizen. Honestly, playing Baldur's Gate would be the type... I would enjoy playing Baldur's Gate if I didn't have D&D games going on currently.
Okay.
It feels very similar to D&D, and I get that's what they were going for. But that's also a deterrent for me, or detractor for me.
Well, you know, if you can play D&D and get that experience, it's going to be better because you've got other people around the table, and I generally find tabletop role-playing to be a superior experience to almost any video game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, naturally it's going to pale in comparison. I don't think anybody's going to fault you for saying that.
Yeah, and it's just... I just can't get into it because of it. Like, I'm finishing Pathfinder Kingmaker because it's a story that I keep trying to finish, and the game keeps glitching and fucking me out of the game. So now it's become kind of like a personal vendetta of, bitch, I'll finish you one way or another. It's like, stop fucking with me. But no, Stronghold is a game where you're put in charge of a castle or put in charge of sieging a castle.
Uh-huh.
And you have to maintain the castle between waves of attacks if you're defending it.
Okay.
If you're the one sieging it, you have X number of points to siege the castle, and that's what you have to use. So kind of think of it as more like a puzzle.
Okay. Maybe some elements of tower defense type stuff in there?
Sort of. Like, you have to build the castle walls and the towers and the soldiers and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Okay. I do enjoy a tower defense game in general.
Yeah. Now for under this, what came up with Let's Make a Remake, the changes I would make to Stronghold itself. One, allow your attacking forces to get reinforced.
Uh-huh.
If the enemy has the ability to take resources from the ground, and some of them are practically infinite, like especially if they have their growing crops inside their castle, then at that point you should be able to do the same out there.
Okay.
It is like chop down some trees from some resources, maybe have some, like a base of operations nearby that keeps sending you resources to put more troops on the field.
Okay.
Because for the most part, a lot of the attacks boil down to you have to hit them in just the right spot with just the right types of enemies in order to succeed. And if you don't, you're kind of screwed.
Okay.
And you have to start the level completely over again.
I can see how that would be frustrating, yeah.
It's not great. It doesn't give room for mistakes. So I would say that would need a change. The story could use a little bit of better pacing. The campaign, anyway. So there is that. Other than that, better music. Of course, better graphics, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think, as we usually say, the better graphics sort of go without saying.
Yeah.
That's one of the gimmies of an update of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a gimme. Sorry, the side of my head's still hurting.
I hope that is better today.
It is better than yesterday, but it just started getting pressure in it again, which means I'm going to have to lance it later, and that'll be so much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a quick little Let's Make a Remake. Nothing major. Let's see what else we got. Oh, boy. Xenogears. Do you remember that game?
I have discussed it with folks. I have not played it personally, but yes, I am familiar. Although I will say that there is a approximately 40% chance that I will confuse it with Xenosaga at some point.
That's fair. I mean, Xenosaga is the prequel. So I would not blame you for that mistake. Xenogears. Okay, so let's make a remake on that. Well, once again, graphics are a given. One of the fixes... Uh-oh, what is it? God damn it, it busted through my ceiling.
No!
God damn it. Okay. Well, we just got 10 grand meditation thrones. So I'll have to build a throne room later.
I just love the idea of someone orbitally dropping a bunch of thrones, tearing up your entire colony.
Yep, it landed right through one. It's this one fucking room that is just the worst about it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't get it. Like, why it does that. Now, I'm going to try putting this over here and seeing if that helps.
Maybe that room is sort of the center mass of the colony.
Maybe. I just moved one that was called the prefab delivery spot. And seeing if the Twitch drops will put it somewhere else now because I'm tired of fixing my fucking roof.
If the prefab delivery spot was indeed in the middle of that room, then I can see why.
It was nearby.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, I think it might be that. Yep.
That is plausible.
AP's going to fix the roof, so we're going to fix that here shortly. Alright, so Xenogears. Some of the things we're going to fix in Xenogears. Oh boy. 1, we're fixing the number of tracks, musical tracks. And there's a reason why I say that. Let me see. Number of musical tracks in FF7, because FF7 came out roughly around that time. Okay, number of musical tracks in FF8, because it also came out around 8. Number of musical tracks in Xenogears. Alright. See if it will... Come on. Give me it. There it goes. Alright. So, Final Fantasy VII had 85 musical tracks. That's a good solid number.
Yeah.
For a duration of 4 hours, 39 minutes, and 53 seconds total. Alright. Final Fantasy VIII had 74 tracks for a total of 4 hours and 9 minutes. So
okay, so fewer tracks but similar duration.
Similar duration, half an hour difference. Xenogears only has 44 tracks.
For a duration of?
It doesn't say. I gotta see what the duration is. Because I'm looking for that duration. Where is this? It says it's here, but it's not. You know what? I have an idea. Let me look up videos. Alright, so the complete Gears soundtrack on piano someone performed was 1 hour, 18 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
That is... Give me a second. I'm going to see if I can't find a complete Xenogears OST. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the complete soundtrack for the game is 1 hour and 13 minutes. The longest one I saw is 2 hours and 28 minutes.
So, at best, half.
Yeah, half.
Of what your Final Fantasy games are doing.
Yeah, the 2 Final Fantasy games that were released during that time.
Right.
So, we need to fix that. We need more variety of music. That is needed in a game like that.
Fair enough.
So there is that. I would also like to lower the amount of characters in the game, or at least playable characters.
I have heard that comment from other folks who played it. Like, there's a lot of people in there.
There are a lot of people, and a lot of them don't matter. Like, there's a character named Maria. She is a playable character because she can summon her dad who's inside one of the mechs, essentially. Or his brain is. Why do we need her as a playable character? We could literally have her as an NPC that does the scenes that she's in and then goes away because she never affects the story outside of those scenes.
Fair enough.
It kind of makes no goddamn sense. It's like, please stop doing this. There's a few other minor characters that are in the story, but like, for the most part, we almost never use in a fight. Like, the main characters I've seen people use in fights are Faye, who is the main character. Ellie, who is his love interest. Citan, who is the mentor character. Bart, who's the hothead guy who travels with them. And that's about it. Oh, no, sorry. And occasionally I've seen people use Billy a lot, which is the priest with guns.
Gotcha. I mean, I would.
Yeah. He uses a variety of guns as his fighting style. He does gung fu.
A
And
priest with gun fu is yeah, that is a great character.
and he runs an orphanage. He runs an orphanage and he takes care of all the orphans from the war. That's his shtick.
Isn't that a Trigun character?
I feel like it is, but it's weird. It's kind of fun. Don't get me wrong. But the other characters, to tell you how little I remember them, I'm actually looking them up right now.
Right.
Because it's just like, shit, who are they? Let's see. We got Citan, Bartholomew, I already mentioned. Billy Lee Black is the priest with guns. Like, give me a second. I'll send you a picture.
I was going to ask you if, Cosmos was one of them, but apparently that's Xenosaga?
That's Xenosaga.
Yes.
All right.
Not Xenogears.
Yeah, Cosmos is not in Xenogears. We have a Cosmos-like character, but I will get into that character here in a moment. Here is the official art for Billy, as soon as I can send him. Oh, wrong chat. I don't want to send it there. That is his official art. Is like, that's his full body shot, and this is his face.
Hang on just a sec.
Yep.
Okay.
He uses twin pistols. He occasionally pulls out a shotgun or a rifle, but that's kind of his shtick.
Sure.
All right. Esmeralda is the Cosmos-like character.
Okay.
She's essentially a sentient nano machine colony that like sees your character as essentially dad, because the person who made her was essentially you in a previous life.
Gotcha.
It's kind of fucked. Let's see, Ricardo Banderas. He's a massive demi-human guy. He shows up for a while in the game, but then really doesn't matter at that point. Maria Balthasar is the one I mentioned earlier. There's a cute little animal creature named Choo Choo, and it's fucking annoying.
That's to be expected.
Like, I kind of fuck describes the whole Xenogears. This is true. The story of Xenogears is very much like Freudian fucky wucky shit. Choo Choo grows. That's true. Instead of Choo Choo getting a mech like everyone else in the fucking game seems to do, no, Choo Choo grows to kaiju size and you fight with it.
Okay.
It's like, why? It's like, fuck this. It's like, no. It is weird, it is bizarre, I do not give a fuck.
Oh, I hit a lava pocket. I'm gonna have to work my way around.
I feel like I would also give, if I was remaking Xenogears, I'd give the villains slightly more camera time.
Okay.
For one, to give them chance to grow and breathe and add more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them have some really cool backstory information, and I think it would do well if they got more time to explain it, instead of what we got at the very end of the game, which was basically, hi, here's an exposition dump and the final boss, go.
I do seem to recall hearing that the ending of Xenogears was particularly rushed.
They ran out of funding.
Yeah.
So, it's very much like, please, just let's do the end of the game like it was supposed to be done. And I get they were trying to go with a lot of, like, psychological, philosophy, all this shit. They were trying to tackle really deep and complex subjects. If you're going to do that, you need more time. In fact, I would honestly say if I was to be the one in charge of remaking Xenogears, I would break it up into 2, possibly 3 separate games.
Okay.
Basically taking the acts of Xenogears, Act 1, 2, and 3, and making each act its own game. because they do have rising tension, falling action, all of that in each act.
Mm-hmm.
There is still a growth of tension throughout the entire story, but you feel those dips at the end and beginning of each act.
Gotcha.
So I feel like if you wanted to break it up and get more time to tell that story, then that would be the way to do it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's very much like, okay. Uh-huh.
Now I'm gonna need to make myself some more torches here in a second.
Why isn't anybody emptying that one? Okay, whatever. So there is that. Combat-wise, would I make any changes to the combat system? Yes and no. And hear me out, this is mostly due to some slight stat imbalancing. No offense, I understand Faye's the main character. I understand he has to be a powerful character. The dude's stats do not need to be better than everyone else's in everything. Like, Jesus Christ. Faye has a better magic stat at the end of the game than the main magic character, who is his love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, explain, please. Like, I've always been of the idea, and I think you would agree with me, that if you have an ensemble cast, you should have each character be good at something. Especially better than the other characters at that.
In general, yes, unless you have a character situation where, like, you're doing a like a comic relief character, or this is a story character. They don't necessarily have to be better than everybody at something, but yes, the general rule of thumb, I would say you do.
All right. Wizen did bring up a good point. The reason why Faye's stats are the way they are is because he is he is dipping double duty. I think he meant to me double dipping duty as one of the main baddies.
I see.
Faye has DID.
Gotcha.
He has 3 personalities. He has Faye Wong, which is the character you play as most of the time. He has the child, who is the super ego. Faye is supposed to represent the ego. The child is the super ego. And id represents what he's named after. Id. The id.
Mm-hmm.
And id is the villain. One of the villains. He likes to fight. He likes to fight strong opponents. He really enjoys it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And motherfucker, he is a scary motherfucker indeed. Like, at one point in the story, they're in this world, there are ships that go sail over the sand.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at one point, he's in his mech kicking the crap out of Bart, and people are going, "Oh shit, we gotta save Bart." And so their solution of saving Bart is to drop a sand submarine, which is big enough to carry multiple of these mechs, onto id.
Uh-huh.
Just drops it right on his ass. They like jump a dune, boom, squish. And Bart's like, "Motherfuckers, you just damaged my goddamn submarine. Don't do this. Next time you decide to get a stupid idea like that, at least talk to me first." All right, he's sitting there yelling at his crew for trying to save his ass, essentially. And then suddenly, the submarine starts shaking and then lifts off the ground, and it is glowing like a fucking sun, and just goes, "Oh, that was amusing. You dropped a battleship on me, but that's cheating, so take it back." And he throws it back at Bart. Like, dude telekinetically picks up a giant-ass battleship and just goes, "Fuck you." It's like, oh, that's frightening.
Yep.
And what makes him even worse is there is one scene where there's a secret organization society that has a floating country. They're like this like low orbit like space station that they live on. And this thing is the size of like the United States.
Uh-huh.
It is big. Id single-handedly wrecks the entire station to cause it to come crashing down in pieces onto the planet. From his one mech.
Mm-hmm.
Which is teeny, teeny, tiny compared to this thing.
Right.
This is how frighteningly powerful of a villain this prick is. And I love him for it. It is just like, he is a crazed villain, and he fits the world so well.
Oh, thank God, I finally found one.
Okay, why aren't you guys... Okay. For some reason, these guys aren't emptying their things. And I don't get why. Alright, game, I'm gonna have to fix this, so give me a second. I hate doing this, but... Goodbye. Alright, there you go. That, they had to have been glitched out or something. Because for some reason, I just couldn't empty them of their trash.
Strange.
Yeah, which is really weird. Which is Jalso, the same mech that Faye uses, just locked off and to be used by id only. Yeah. Faye and id use the exact same mech, except id's changes color and shape slightly compared to Faye's. It turns into like this big golden and red mech thing, which is cool as hell looking. You know what? I feel like you would appreciate the mech design.
Okay.
Because you're into, fucking Gunpla stuff anyway.
Sure, yeah.
Alright, let's see if I could find a good picture of the mech. Alright. Yeah, there's a good picture. It's someone's artistic drawing of it, but fuck it, we'll go with it.
That looks like, Sazabi.
Yeah.
Or Sinanju. I get those two confused, but basically either a Shar Aznable special or Shar Aznable XP special.
Yeah. And to give you an idea of how messed up id looks, this is him in the hand of his mech, by the way. And now, the fact that nobody could tell that Faye and id were the same person kind of blows my mind.
Right.
Because the first time I actually got to see id's face, I was like, wait a minute. Something ain't right here.
Mm-hmm.
Because, here's a close-up of Faye's face. Because this is what shows up every time Faye talks. It's in the corner.
Right.
You see that. Then you see id. Which, every time he talks, it's this picture. Like...
I mean...
They're really similar.
I wouldn't necessarily assume same guy, but I might go, I wonder if they're related.
That was my first question, too, when I saw them. I was like, they're brothers. They gotta be brothers or something, because Faye doesn't have much memory of his past. He's the stereotypical amnesiac character.
Yep.
And it's just like, they did at least well and explained why he has the amnesia later, which is, id is the core personality in the DID collective.
Mm-hmm.
So id remembers everything. He only lets Faye remember what he wants Faye to remember.
Gotcha.
As well as whatever Faye experiences when he's out. Later on, you get the ability to unlock its power for a set number of turns. This is true. You get an special ability in mech form called System Id. Which basically lets you go, hi, for like 3 or 4 turns, I have unlimited energy, and I'm going to basically use it on your face.
Nice.
So essentially, you get a little bit of a berserk mode for a few rounds. Yeah, afterwards, if you use it, you do get a little bit less energy regeneration. So you get that burst of energy, but later on you pay for it a little bit.
Gotcha.
So, but it's good for boss fights if you want to end the boss fight very quickly. Storyline beat-wise, the pacing for Xenogears is pretty good until the end. So if we fix the last disc, that would, I think, fix a lot of problems.
Right on.
But if we're making it into its own game for each act, I would be sure to make sure that the pacing is at least kept in time.
Mm-hmm.
I might extend the pacing out a little bit for certain beats just to fill that time. But I would try to keep the timing of the story beats at least somewhat in the same ballpark. I think the biggest thing I would probably do is add a lot more side content.
Gotcha.
Between main story beats, each one. But make the side content, like, worthwhile. Don't just be like, oh, I have to have you go collect, like, 10 of this herb for my son so because he's sick. It's like, nah, I'm good. None of that.
Right.
The game does start a little bit fucked, but once again, welcome to Xenogears. Everything is fucked. You end up being the cause of your entire village's destruction. Not because you, how do I put it? You got into basically a giant mech of someone who kind of crash landed next to your village.
Uh-huh.
And you decide to fight off the enemies to try to help defend the village. And for some reason, your character's just drawn to the pilot seat, and you don't know why. Turns out later it's because of id. Id's like, yes, I get to fight now. Woohoo! But during the fight, the enemy just keeps getting back up, and it's like really pissing you off. And then what everybody else sees is your mech starting to glow, or they're called gears in the settings.
Yes.
So your gear starts to glow, and then suddenly there's the equivalent of a nuclear explosion in the village, and it kills almost everybody that was still in the village, including your best friend, his fiance, who is also your friend, and a few other fun people. And the little boy who was, like, looking up to you was outside the village. and so when you get back to the villagers, they all hate the fuck out of you, especially him.
Yeah.
And because the people you killed was his also best friend, which was your best friend, and his older sister, who was the fiance.
Nice.
So you essentially killed his entire family. Question, are Xenogears and Xenosaga related? Yes, they are. Xenosaga is the prequel to Xenogears. In fact, the passcode that Cosmos uses at the beginning of the game, or sorry, the Shion uses to wake up Cosmos, is "You shall all be gods." Alright? That is the password to wake up Cosmos. In the beginning of Xenogears, the virus, or the artificial intelligence / virus that takes over the ship and starts killing all the humans, puts a phrase on the screen on repeat when it successfully takes over the ship. And that phrase is, "You shall all be gods." Which means, according to Xenogears, Cosmos goes berserk and tries to murder humanity, and then in return, as well, when the ship crashes on this uninhabited planet, it takes the DNA of all the crew that it murdered and creates humans in order to one day fix itself so that it could finish its mission of killing the rest of humanity in the galaxy.
I'm gonna make more humans so I can kill more humans.
Yep.
Delightful.
Because I can't kill myself. Or I can't kill myself or fix myself. It's like, oh, great. That's great, guys. That seems like a cruel joke. Welcome to Xenogears. Everything is fucked.
Now, just to clarify for my own edification, Xenoblade is unrelated.
No, it is still related.
Oh!
That is Xenogears. Xenoblade is after Xenogears.
Okay.
So this whole Xenoblade Chronicles is kind of continuing the story, but in different, almost, I don't want to say timelines, but kind of slightly different realities.
I see.
So they are all connected. They are all the Xeno universe. In fact,
enough.
in Xeno Saga Episode 3, you can actually find this fight on YouTube, by the way. Id is in Xeno Saga Episode 3.
Huh.
He is an optional boss.
Neat.
And he is insanely powerful. Like, you have to have maxed out characters with really close to maxed out gear to, like, have a chance of beating him.
Okay.
Yeah, phenomenal cosmic power. Yeah. I forget what he's called in Xenosaga. Give me a second. Xenosaga Id. Oh, Omega Id. That's what he's referred to as. And he's a hidden boss. Here you go, friendo. Omega Id. This is what they put in Saga.
Okay.
He's
It's a good looking mech.
Yeah, it's a good looking mech. It has a single eye in the center that glows. And you do have to fight him in mech form with everybody. So Cosmos has got like all that stuff. Itty bitty living space. Oh yeah.
He's giving Magnus the red.
Yeah, he's very. If you were going to equate him with anybody in Warhammer 40k, Magnus the Red would be a close like comparison, because it does use a lot of magic, but he also uses a lot of physical capabilities.
Yeah.
Usually he uses magic to take down larger targets, like just the large size ones, and he tends to use physical on solo targets. So there is that. I know that when I mentioned let's make a remake with Xenogears with a friend of mine, they asked, since I love id so much, would I put id in more of the game? And my answer to that would be no. He has enough camera time as is. He does not need more.
Fair.
There is such a thing as doing too much of a good thing. And that is honestly the big thing with it is like he's got enough camera time. He does his job really well. He will scare the poop out of you multiple times. And we call it a day. Though there is one scene where him and Citan have a conversation. And the reason why he's just not murdering Citan on sight is because the villains captured Faye and put him in a prison cell that cuts the neurons from his brain to his muscles. So he cannot move at all. And id points out, it goes, well, this is a neat little trick they've done. I'm slowly getting access to my body, but it's just taking longer now. And so it gives Satan like a good 20-ish minutes to have a conversation with the guy. without getting immediately, murdered.
Right.
So, that's a cool scene. I very much want to keep that. I do want to clean up the character designs, especially of some of the villains.
Uh-huh.
Because some of them do have kind of similar designs. And I feel like cleaning them up and giving them a few extra details here and there might differentiate the villains from each other better.
Sure.
I feel like that would be a good thing.
How many diamonds am I up to? 58 on this run. That is not bad. I really, really could stand to have a few hundred, though.
That's fair.
That is the resource limitation that I have been hitting in recently, is just like, oh, I need diamonds, I need diamonds, I need more diamonds.
More diamonds!
So I am mining around near bedrock level. Have you been down near bedrock on ATM 9?
Yep. You remember I had the stairwell that went straight to the bottom of the world?
Yes, but have you spent a lot of time standing on a bedrock block?
No, not on a bedrock block. Why?
Something creepy starts to happen. It's part of a mod that I have not played before.
Oh, that's not good. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to make Inessa and Trobo have the right schedule. I fixed their works focuses, but not their schedule. Alright. So right now my colony doesn't have electricity because we're dealing with a solar flare.
Right.
And that's annoying. Hopefully it goes away soon. I will say there is one modification to Xenogears I would make to the combat system, and that is the mech combat system.
Okay.
How do I want to put this? Instead of like how, okay, when you usually do an in-person combat, you have, whenever you hit the attack button, you can do combos. You have a light attack, a medium attack, and a heavy attack, and you can string them together into combos equal to the number of points you have for that combo. And as you level, these points go up. Like, a light attack eats up 1 point, medium 2, heavy 3.
Okay.
Right. But when you do mech combat, all you have is light, medium, and heavy attack, and it automatically does a combo.
Gotcha.
I would like to honestly bring the combo system from the personal attacks, like the human-sized combat, to the mech size. Even if we don't get death blows for mechs, because that's a lot of extra program and a lot of extra work, just having the ability to just say light, medium, or light, heavy, or whatever, I feel would add to the, like, more complexity to the combat system.
Sure.
But not in a way that would be overwhelming.
Makes sense.
I feel like that's a good modification. I would try to reinforce Ellie's magic system a little better, because even though she does have a really good magic stat, the game does not encourage you to use her magic that much. They try to convince you to use her death blows more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, this is okay, but I don't know. It could be better.
Time for me to make some more torches.
So, I mean, there is that. I am kind of looking forward to tomorrow, though.
Me too.
City of Heroes should be a fun thing to experience. You seem really into it, so that gives me some level of hope.
So, based on what we were talking about in MMOs before, one of the things that I think is really unique about it is that City of Heroes does not give a shit if you've got a bunch of friends. It is a game that you can play almost all of by yourself if you need to. There are a few things that you can do, task forces, that require teams, but you know what? You can have a blast with most of the content by yourself. And honestly, the other thing is, when I played World of Warcraft, like, if you wanted to do the Dead Mines or whatever, you had to find a group that wanted to do the Dead Mines, and then you'd have to be, like, subject to criticism, like, oh, your build sucks, you're not doing enough damage, blah, blah, blah. With City of Heroes, they've designed it so there's a little more slack in it, so, like, you can bring along a complete fucking moron on a task force and do just fine. Now, that varies depending on how they're being a moron. Like, if they go around aggroing every single mob, you still might have a problem. But it's not like you have to be tuned to the perfection level to get it done. So I think that makes it easier to get just like a pickup group. Like, hey, you guys want to run this? Yeah, it's a couple hours, but sure.
See, that's one of the things I liked about Final Fantasy XIV, at least for the dungeons as you go through the story. Not like the high-end ones. As long as you're somewhat doing your job moderately proficiently, you're okay. You don't have to tune everything to perfection. But as long as you're not, like, for example, if you're playing a healer, as long as you're throwing the damage over time effect, you're fine. You don't have to maximize your DPS and heals, but as long as you're like, hey, I throw my little wind damage effect, and I occasionally keep everybody above, 50% HP.
Left in this gun, you see?
Yeah.
You're fine. And it's like, that's okay. It has a lot of forgiveness, and it's sounding like what you're saying is City of Heroes has that same level of forgiveness, that you don't have to have the best numbers, but as long as you're not being a complete dumbass,
against my moral compass.
you are,
Moral
okay.
compass is a roulette wheel.
Oh, yeah. It's all
Absolutely.
coming together.
All right. So Angel Woman goes, so me and my bro did a little Steam family on Steam, so now he can play my games. Oh, neat. Yeah, I wish I could do that with some of my friends, but Steam won't let me give them family access because they're in another state. Otherwise, Dalton, Bishop, Isaac would all have access to my Steam account. And I would have access to theirs.
Right on.
Because there are some games that I have that they really want to play, and they just don't want to buy it.
Right.
Which is a shame, because my sister's actually is in another state. Yep, it's fine. Christy, welcome! Tell me, how did you find me? Because it says first time chat. How did you discover where I am from? Oh. Ads are activating.
Well, there's a creepy noise.
Oh, excuse me while I choke on my choke on my ads.
I thought you were going to say choke on your ass, and I'm like, dude, that's pretty flexible.
Oh, it's someone from the garden. Okay, that's cool. Where's my mute?
The other thing I was going to say about Minecraft, though, if you are down around bedrock level mining around, you will run into arcane debris, which looks like ancient debris, but is like white instead of brown.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to mine it yet, but it's used for one of the new magic mods that is in this pack.
Ah.
Like, this is the first kitchen sink pack since MC Eternal that I think has a satisfactory blend of magic mods for me. I have long been a fan of Electro Bob's Wizardry, or Electro Blob, I think.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I have been missing that so much from MC Eternal. But, like, there's a good mix in this one, so I'm looking forward to trying them all out.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be playing some Minecraft after I'm done streaming, and I get Ann to work.
Yep.
Because I got Mystic Ag to get done, and I really want to get it done.
And my focus in Mystic Ag is basically I want to get to a Master Infusion Crystal, so I don't have to keep worrying about that. And then once I've done that, I'll start looking at making seeds of other things. The only thing I'm really hurting for in terms of resources is, like I said, diamonds, and I couldn't muster the stuff to make diamond seeds right now anyway.
By the way, I want to point this out to the audience. You guys are in charge of making events happen. The storyteller will not cause events to happen in this game unless you guys pay for it. Just a heads up. Like, it'll do minor things like a solar flare, or someone may get a little sick, or like an eclipse or something, but it won't. It tries not to send too many raids at me or cause other effects to happen because it expects the audience to do it more often.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that.
Feel like I'm getting back close to that Undercity that I stumbled upon into the early game. One of my early deep dive efforts put me like I was setting off skulk sensors, and I was like, I can't even see them yet, and I'm setting them off, and like the screen would go black, and I'm like, shit, they summoned the warden somewhere down there. I don't even know where it is.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, the problem I'm having in ATM 10 is I can't find all the modium. I need I need like 3 nuggets, like 3 or 4 nuggets. That's all I need, and I would be set. But fuck it. I'm actually glad it's raining tonight. No idiots shooting fireworks. Yep. He named A&M LOL.
Hmm?
I don't know what Ange is going on about.
Like Texas A&M?
I don't know. Christy says, yes, in all party games, they definitely need to pull their role. Yes. Oh, Steam family thing. Okay. Yeah, Christy, that's very true. Any game that requires teamwork, everybody needs a job to do in that team, and they need to be able to do it decently. This chef person is getting massive levels compared to everyone else. Good God. Alright, how much more? Okay, so I'm slowly getting XP. Yeah, if
What
they're
the
full.
fuck?
What?
I just completed a quest, visit the Deep Dark, and I'm like, I can't even see a Deep Dark. I think the Deep Dark is literally right under my base.
Oh boy. That's what happened to me in ATM 8, remember? We had the Deep Dark under my place with a complete,
yeah, I do remember that.
with a complete ancient city and everything, and I'm like, well, fuck. I just essentially built my castle on an Indian burial ground. Well, this is gonna suck. Alright.
You only moved the headstones! Sorry.
Yeah, I only moved the headstones. Alright, so let us get up here.
We are getting close to time.
I have the person I'm gonna raid.
Alrighty.
It's someone who has raided me on multiple occasions. So I'm gonna raid them back finally, because they're finally streaming when I'm ready to end.
Gotcha.
And it's Unicorn Girl. Usually she raids me when I'm doing like Star Wars, but hey, this works. ATM 8 is Minecraft, yes. ATM stands for all the mods. We are currently playing 9. We used to play 8. I've been experimenting with 10 on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a mod pack that we all play. All right. With that being said, thank you all for coming to this Tabletop Tuesday. I appreciate you being here. If you are one of my many tavern visitors, please use the following raid message. The follower raid message. If you are one of my few tavern patrons, which if you want to become a tavern patron, that would be most grateful. I would be most grateful for that. It also wouldn't have to deal with the ads. You get cool emotes and, you know, all that fun shit. Please use the subscriber raid message if you're one of my tavern patrons. Okay? Join us tomorrow for City of Heroes, where I'm going to be playing a steampunk tank. So that'll be fun. I say,
Yes.
good sir, have at ye. Remember to take a dump before midnight tonight. You don't want to carry the same crap into 2025. God damn it. Jersey, I love this. Oh, god damn it. Oh my god. Alright. Happy New Year, by the way. Thank you. You're stealing that one, aren't you? Probably. With that being said, you guys take care of yourselves, both mentally and physically. That's always important. And I know you come to my wonderful, resplendent tavern for the witty banter, but you stay for my fuck-ups. Hi, child. Are you gonna say Happy New Year to everybody?
Yellow.
Talking to this, say Happy New Year.
Yellow.
No, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
There you go. There you go. Now off to bed with you.
No.
All right. I gotta get going, guys, so I hope to catch you all tomorrow. Toodles.
Oodles.
On Twitch we sail, come join the dive with games and chat and tales untold. In Ruby's realm, let the fun unfold. Oh, Ruby streams with laughter bright. By the glowing screen we set our sight. From fantasy realms to FPS fight, every stream is pure delight.